Last week, I had two of my players who've never played role playing games before, except for Chronicles of Darkness, discuss what it was like having that experience. If you are interested in the Mage Awakening actual play, it's going to be up on the Patreon for about a month before it comes to YouTube. I'll let you guys know when those get live. But if you really want to support the channel, it just costs $1 or $5 if you want to go to the top tier to support the channel. Thank you so much, and onwards to the interview. How, like, they wanted to know how to get people into Chronicles of Darkness, stuff like that. And since you guys, your first role playing game that you ever played was Chronicles of Darkness, like
Yeah.
how did that happen?
What do you mean?
Like
We didn't have a choice.
That's what you were playing.
But what made you want to join?
Just wanted to try something out. I mean, what kept me interested was the scenario, the location, that it was something relatable, but still, supernatural. Have fond memories of the loft.
The Mill 404.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
You guys had your own, each of you had your own shop in that mill too. I think Kendall had the karaoke bar, and you had the arcade.
Yeah.
It was nice to escape to a semi-real world. Was that like? Did we do that before the pandemic? It was after the pandemic
It was
started,
after
right?
the pandemic, I
Yeah.
think. It was. I mean, that was a good jumping off point, was that we were all so distant from each other and craving like human interaction that it helped.
I mean, I was really disappointed. I think I started working like right after we started the campaign because I was on furlough at the time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other
I
questions would be good. Oh, yeah,
I
Kendall?
did enjoy the Clue one-off.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That
That
was fun.
that was an easy game too, right? You guys probably don't even remember any of those rules. It was so easy.
Gonna say, yeah, I don't remember.
I mean, there probably were rules, but not rules. And I feel like didn't you make a Gilbert and Sullivan something in the Changeling one for me? There
I,
were some references I caught that I really enjoyed.
well, that's the benefit of us having been siblings for most of our lives, or all of our lives.
I was gonna say most of our lives. Is there something you want to tell me? Like I'm confused.
I mean, it is weird to GM for your sibling when, like, a lot of the time the stuff that you say is exactly what I am, like, thinking. The character you chose for Werewolf the Forsaken is the same exact character I would have chosen. Like, you chose,
Really?
yeah, you chose a Iron Master Araka, I think, which was like the stealth wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the same character I played as for my game when I played it.
That's funny.
And you just chose a Mystigos Mysterium, which is also my first mage character I made.
That's so funny.
The only yeah.
I don't think of us as necessarily well, especially for this stuff. I feel like you have such a like greater knowledge of things that I just would assume that whatever I picked is just me holding on to my Harry Potter references.
Oh no, there has to be something like more to it, maybe from our like from our
Instinctually
up,
childhood.
yeah. And then Changeling, though, your character was completely different than a character I would run, though. I
Yeah.
think your character was a fairest songstress or something.
That's because something with music came up and I had to do the music thing.
Yeah. And you were Summer Court, but everyone was Summer Court. Pretty much everyone was
People
Summer Court.
describe Summer Court as Hufflepuff to me.
No, I thought they were Gryffindor, I thought. I don't know.
Maybe.
Slytherin was Winter Court. And then Spring, I told you guys it was escapism because I didn't want to do the whole. They're basically just a giant orgy.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, this mage, you don't really have to worry about that. Let's see what else there. So, like, we sort of touched a bit. Like, what made you guys want to play a role playing game in general? Like, was there anything that, like, was it hearing my stories or hearing stories from your friends of them playing RPGs that got you into it? Or
Oh,
And
honestly, it was the community episode where they play Dungeons and Dragons.
yes. This is such, but that was one of those episodes where I realized after the fact that literally nothing of what they were saying was being shown on the screen, but I felt like I was seeing it on the screen.
that's
Like I
awesome.
rewatched it again recently. I'm like, there is literally no cutaways. There's not. It's literally just them talking.
And to lay off the drugs.
What do you mean?
If you're seeing things.
Wait, you guys don't see things?
I
Just kidding.
I totally see things when I'm running games for you guys. It is one of the most enjoyable parts about running them.
I
But
know.
like when you read a book, when you're thinking about the book,
Oh,
you
yeah.
play, it's like a movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you guys played any role playing games outside of the sessions I've run for you?
Nope.
No.
I have been invited. I was not able to do it because on Saturdays.
Yeah.
But they play actual Dungeons and Dragons. And
Were-
I also feel like I don't know if I would handle the fantasy part of it great. Like I kind of like the stuff we do is based on a little bit of realism.
I like that. That makes me feel good because a lot of people will say that they don't like realism in role playing games. In particular, a lot of people will say that they prefer the fantasy because it lets them escape from reality.
I don't know. Having it based in reality, I don't know, seems almost more of an escape.
Even though the worlds are pretty dark and grim, at least the ones I run for you guys.
I mean, I am afraid to go to a rodeo of Randy.
Fair,
That
fair.
Freddy movie or whatever it is really
Five
freaky.
Nights.
But so even though we did a World of Darkness game where like society is terrible, people are joining cults and random people are dying for no reason.
Oh, the
Like,
compound. I forgot about the compound.
but you guys had fun with the like dark depravity of the world, even though like it might have reminded you of real life at any point, or did it not remind you of real life?
Say, it didn't seem that dark to me. Have
Yeah,
you looked outside?
I thought it was fun.
So having
At least
people,
we had a fighting chance of defeating the evil.
Yeah.
but like a lot of the plots weren't even about defeating the evil. Like you had the family for Kendall, and you had your fetch being a cult leader and things like that.
I mean the cult leader, that was funny. Maybe we're just dark and deplorable people.
I mean, you can't even watch Twilight Zone. How are you watching Changeling? How are you playing Changeling the Lost or Werewolf the Forsaken?
But you know what? This does kind of track for me. So, like, Twilight Zone freaks me out, but I will watch true crime all day. I don't know. I like true crime stuff.
So if you had the choice between like Lord of the Rings high fantasy world and urban fantasy grim dark,
Urban fantasy, grim dark,
Scott?
Hunger Games, Divergent. I would read those books all over again. I still have never touched Lord of the Rings.
Scott, you?
Yeah, I guess I'd go the same way. I could do either, though.
That one was probably the biggest one that gets me because so many people get brought in through Dungeons and Dragons, and it's if someone were to invite you to a role playing game that's not me, what would you expect to happen?
I mean, I'm concerned that I wouldn't get enough hand holding.
Yeah, I'd probably still be concerned about that. Be like, is it still beginner friendly? I'd anticipate that either we're gonna have a session to work on our characters, or we're expected to bring a character, with homework character sheet to build out, something like that.
So what is it that I did that helped you guys get into role playing? Like, what was the hand holding I did that helped?
Allowing us to break the fourth wall and, ask you questions, and you would either say, I'm not going to disclose that because it's, gonna impact the game, or, just get on with it, stop being paranoid, and make a decision. This is not, a trap. um
And the setup stuff too, like you had those charts for us that
yeah,
you had made that
it
kind of
was
broke it
great.
down. You go, Scott.
I was just gonna say the cheat sheet was very helpful to see it all in one place instead of I ended up buying the book, but and that was good for reading into detail more, but it was much better to just like be able
This
to
is what I have.
review a sheet over and over again to get more familiar with the capabilities of my character.
And in the beginning too, you made associations. For me, I know helps, like just like you did now. Like, okay, Harry Potter houses. Okay, this is something I can wrap my brain around.
Yep. Yeah, that's good too. And I was just about to say something else and it slipped my mind.
You bought the book, know your character, associations.
Could you read the book without me being there?
Could I?
Yeah, like
Or did I?
were you able to like discern what it was all meaning?
Yeah, I would just like reference things. I didn't like read a whole chapter or anything. Just search around for stuff.
Oh,
I remember what I was gonna say now. The one thing I did like was having some sort of choices to start off with instead of just give us options like you're grabbing coffee, whatever, are you doing this, or are you doing that? There was a board to check for things, to find, different quests, so to speak, that I found helpful. That was one of the things that I found a little more challenging when we were doing the werewolf game. That was just kind of lost as to what we should be doing, how we could progress the story. You know, Most of
Sometimes
the
it's a
side
hard to have
quests or
associated.
just the quests that came up in Changeling ended up, even if it didn't seem at first that it was going to be related to the underlying stories of all our characters and of the underlying story of the game itself, they'd end up, half the time being related some way. That was cool.
Kendall, you were saying?
Yeah, I feel like the werewolf was really open ended, and it was like too open ended for us still. Like we needed a little more boundaries.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I think for our next one I will definitely try and do something similar with Changeling to give you guys more focus.
I get that kind of goes against, the part of the point of
Role
RPGs.
playing.
It's supposed to be open world, open game. It's just helpful to have a starting point.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I thought I was giving you guys focus a little bit in the werewolf game because I was saying like here are like 3 locations that you can go investigate, but then I
Yeah.
realized
Yeah, and
afterwards that
that you did. I think this was feedback that I had given on the game before, so but I
Yeah,
just
I
want
think you
to
had
highlight
helped
that
us.
that was helpful.
I'm taking the feedback. I don't often get a lot of feedback because people are too nice a lot of the time, but I do like
Well, I
it.
hope this is not mean feedback.
Oh no, it's very constructive. I'm very thankful for it because I one of the things I do pride myself on is being able to bring people a hobby and be able to be good for new players. I think when I ran a server of like I think got up to like 20 or 30 people or something like that. It got pretty big at one point and I was able to onboard people very easily, but then it became so big I couldn't really control it.
Manage it.
One of the things that I'm kind of hesitantly enthusiastic about, or if people who are watching my channel right now they're probably like, oh, he's too enthusiastic about this, is there's a new game that the people who made Chronicles of Darkness are making, because Chronicles of Darkness is owned by a company called Paradox Interactive, and the people who make the game license it from them, and that's Onyx Path. And they have decided to make their own game. They've decided to make their own game now called Curseborne, though nothing is out about it yet. Sorry, I'm not selling it very well.
Well, there's not much to sell yet, but
Yeah, there isn't. They
it's not like a thing yet, so
yeah. The stuff that they have out is a quiz and 2 videos of people playing it with vampires, demons, werewolves, and ghosts, and that's about it. Anyway, Divergent. Good book.
good book. Okay, that was scary.
I'm
Did we just become best friends?
Did you guys have bunk beds growing up?
No.
No, we wanted them though.
Totally.
Who didn't?
Except the problem was both of us wanted the top bunk.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're my sister, I can ask you this question. Did you feel at all like not welcomed into the role-playing game group because of like the gender disparity or anything?
No.
Did it help that there was another woman in the role-playing game group?
Maybe. I think it helped. Honestly, I think it helped more that Scott was there.
Yeah, having a longtime friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott always went to on your girls' nights together too.
I don't know, it's just like I know Scott so well, and we have our own things. So like when people who were talking about things that I really didn't understand or know about, like there was someone else I could, relate with.
Yeah.
Did you and Scott talk about the game a lot outside of game when we were playing?
I don't think so.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay. But it did help that there was someone who was a longtime friend of yours that was also interested in role-playing games.
Yeah, and with you definitely were at the highest of levels in understanding, where we both were coming in as like we don't really know what's going on, so we're in the same boat. So sometimes, I would text Scott sometimes and be like, can we do this? What do you think?
Have back channel chats from
Yeah.
time to time. And I'm sure it being virtual versus in person can make it a bit less intimidating as well.
Yeah.
And just the crew that you put together is great. I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect any of them to talk down to people just because, they're
Their gender or
gender.
any other thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
But on the other hand, if they did, dismiss something that Kendall was saying or trying to do, I would probably chalk it up to because everyone else was way more experienced than she and I probably ran into situations like that as well. We're like, Scott, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't even think that happened.
Like, even as more experienced, like when they did have to kind of say, okay, that's not going to work, like they explained themselves for it. Like it wasn't like just an arbitrary, well, we know more.
Yeah,
It was, well, this one time I played this thing and this is what happened, so this is why I'm thinking like this. And they explained their thinkings for why they were opposed to doing something some way or something like that.
But they were also.
But I never felt like it came from a place of malice or anything.
They were also were they very accommodating for like any ideas you came up with and things like that?
Yeah.
And they didn't talk down to you?
Nope.
Okay.
Not that I remember, not that I can recall at all.
I asked the wrong question at the beginning, and I apologize. I went the gender way, and it wasn't the gender way, it was the friendship way. Having Scott, having me there really helped.
Yeah.
And
and honestly, Liz, Ben, and Mike are awesome. Like, I definitely feel like I got I mean, not friends that I text with or anything, but I have friends, acquaintances from the game.
Thank you guys for answering these questions. Talk to you guys later.
Anytime. Looking forward to our next session.
Woo!
Thank you. Good night.
Night. Shout out to our patrons for supporting the channel.